Hey everyone, this is Sandeep back with another video. And in today's video, we'll continue our JavaScript project series. So we are building this movie Mania application, right? We'll continue to build this application. So in the last part of the video, we have seen like how we can load the data from the IMDb API. So if you see here, we have all the data, right, loaded from the API. In this part of the video, we're going to see how we can render this data in the browser, in the UI. So we will build the user interface in this part of the video. So let's jump into the video and we'll get started. But before that, I need to discuss some concepts, some ideas. So I'm going to switch to my tab. So today we are going to render the data using HTML. And this is the idea, right? Basically how we can render the data using HTML. So HTML is a hypertext markup language. Now, HTML is specialized in showing the user interfaces or creating the user interfaces or presentation layer of the application. And so it got a lot of tags, it got the heading tag, paragraph tag, H1 tag, H2 tag, div tags, and all those tags, right? But HTML is a static language. So we need some way, to render that HTML dynamically, because this data, the data which we are loading from the IMDb API, right? This is a dynamic data. Once that data has been loaded, I want to render that data, but I want to leverage the advantages of HTML, right? So we can combine HTML and JavaScript together so JavaScript is specialized in dynamic or action oriented things, doing action oriented things, or adding dynamism to your web applications or website. So we're going to leverage HTML, whose specialization is presentation, and JavaScript, whose specialization is adding action to our application. So we're going to combine both of these technologies together. So we are getting the data, right? This data which is coming from the IMDb API, and so we are getting the array of data basically, and each object inside that array is it's a JSON object, right? So it got the full title, then IMDb rating, then the image and year, and so on. So there are many other attributes which are coming. So we are going to take this object and we are going to leverage the template string syntax of JavaScript. So I'm going to explain that. What is a template string syntax of JavaScript? And we are going to produce our final output. And everything we are going to do step by step. That is, step 1, we are going to create the main container element. Step 2, generate the HTML string for the list of movies. And then step 3, we are going to append the HTML string generated in step 2 to the main container of the element. So before following these steps, I'll switch back to my window, my browser window, right? I want to explain about HTML template string syntax, right? So what is a template string syntax? So, I can create some variables, like I can create a variable name here. Say suppose name is equals to Sandeep, right? So I've created one name variable. I'm just writing the code directly inside the console, okay? Just I don't want to create another example or another file for that. Now I can console.log, or I can just write something like this. So this is the template string syntax of JavaScript, where I can combine the variables or the data, right, with the string. So that's what we need to do, right? We need to combine the HTML, which is string, with our JavaScript objects. So now this name is nothing but a JavaScript variable. Okay, I'm going to combine this with the string syntax, right? So I can write something like this: my name is, okay, and then I can use this specialized syntax and I can put name here, something like this. If you see here, so I have this my name is a string, and then I'm using this dollar and curly brackets, and inside that I'm putting the JavaScript variable name. And now if I hit enter, you'll see the output, my name is Sandeep. Now this Sandeep is coming from here, this name variable. So we're going to use similar idea to render all of our movies here inside our Movie Mania application. So let's jump into it. So let's start with the step 1. So the step 1 was to create the main container element. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to create a main container element here. So probably I'll add a section just to go semantic with HTML. And I'm going to name this text section. So I can use class or I can use IDs. I'm going to use class syntax here, and let's give it a name of top movies. Okay. So this section, so first of all, this will be the container for our movies, our list of movies which we are loading from the IMDb API. So I'm going to target this element first, and I'm going to grab this element. Okay. Then I'm going to generate the HTML string for, that is a step 2. So first of all, let's grab this element inside our main.js file. So maybe I can do something like this. Maybe I'll define all my variables on the top. I'll say const top movies, and I'm going to say it as a container. Okay. And I'll use the syntax document.query selector, and let's target our node top query selector with the class name, right? So top movies. What name I have given to it, I forgot actually. It's top movies, right? So I'm just going to copy it from here and I'll paste it here, and we'll do the console.log for this just to verify whether we are getting this element or not. So let's do top movies container, and I'm going to save. And if I go back, see that we are getting that section. Now this is a step 1, create the main container of the element, right? So we have created that main container and we got it in the JavaScript also. Now we are going to render all of the list of movies, inside this container. But first of all, we need to generate the HTML string for all of those list of movies, right? So I'm getting all of these movies, right? This 250 movies. So I'm going to grab each movie, each object one by one. I'm going to take some of the properties, from this. Maybe I'll show the image, I'll show the title, I'll show the year of release, and I'll show the IMDb rating. So all of these things we will show as a list of elements. So first of all, we'll create this HTML string, right? In a static way, you would have written all the HTML, inside the HTML file here, but we need to render it dynamically, right? So let's leverage the HTML string syntax or template string syntax of JavaScript here. So I'm going to write a function for that. Okay, so I'll write a new function const generate, or maybe we will just say render top movies. This will be my function. It's going to have one argument here. So we will say that will be the movie list. Okay. And we will grab this movie list. We are going to loop through it and we are going to generate all of those movies together, right? So inside this, first of all, so we need to loop through these movies, right? So I can use for loop, I can use for each syntax or whatever I like. Maybe I'll go with a very simple syntax. I'll go with a for loop here just to generate my HTML string, right? So I'm going to create a variable here, const, right? Movie, maybe list string. I'll name it list string and I'll have the empty string, something like this here. Okay. Then I'm going to run through it. I have a for loop. So let I is equals to 0, I less than movie list dot length length, and I plus plus. And here inside this, I'm going to create that HTML string, which I'm going to put inside my container, right? So let's build that. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to use the template string syntax of JavaScript here to generate all the elements for different movie object. So we're getting all the movies here. So maybe I'll do something like this. Maybe first, I'm going to name movie and is equals to, we will grab the first movie from the something like this. Okay, so movie list I've created a variable. I've created this const list string also just to have the HTML string generated. So I'm going to say list string plus equals to, and I'm going to use my template literal syntax here, and now I'm going to add my HTML string here. So that's what we are going to generate. So I'm going to have a div, and we will think about the class name and everything later on. So I'm not going to put any class name for now. So let's put a div. So each movie is like individual div element, and I can go with the ul and li also. That would be more syntactical, right? So let's go that way. I think that's a good idea. So let's go with the ul, and each movie will be the individual list item, right? Something like this. So I'll put the li, and we need to use the right or proper syntax here, right? So this is JavaScript, and inside JavaScript we are generating our HTML. It would have been really easy if you have used framework, but learning JavaScript helps understanding other frameworks pretty well. So inside this, okay, so I think every time I'm going to plus the ul and li, so better, what I'm going to do basically, first we need to have the, so this is going to be every time it's going to add the ul and li. So better I'm going to do this. So I'm going to have li each time generated, not ul, and I'm going to see how I can put that into the ul later on. Okay, so maybe I can put ul here somewhere. Okay, so this is a list string I'm trying to generate. I'm going to keep it simple, and inside that, first of all, we are going to have the image, right? And that image is going to have the source equals to and if you see here, right, if I go back to my application, right, where we are getting the movie, so the image url is dot image, right? So the image url is dot image, so I'm going to use that here. Now I'm going to use my template string syntax, right? And I got the movie dot image, something like this. Or even, I can break it down something like this. Maybe I can use the destructuring syntax, and I can grab all of those things, right? I can grab the image. So let's grab all of the different things here. Like I can grab the title. I need title. I need the IMDb rating also. So maybe I can copy this IMDb rating. I need image. I need here also, right? So let's grab all of those things here using the destructuring syntax. Now I can directly replace something like this. So instead of movie.image, every time we are just going to put the image first. Then we have other things, right? We need to put the title, right? So maybe I'll go with simple elements now. So I'll go with paragraph. Inside that paragraph, I'm going to render the title. Let's copy this paragraph again, and I'll put it, or maybe we can go with the span element also. So here I'm going to put the here, and the last paragraph I'm going to put we got the year, IMDb rating. Okay, so each list item I'm generating here, right? And now what I need to do, this is my list string, right? And I need to put it into ul and li. That is another thing I need to do. So I need to generate that ul element outside. So const, I'll say ul element, or maybe I'll call it list element. And I'm going to use JavaScript document.create element syntax, and I'll ask it to create the element from the ul tag. Okay, and now I'm going to use list element. Finally, this is going to generate all of the LIs for me, but now I'm going to grab list element, and I'm going to say inner HTML is equals to, I'm going to put the list string. Okay, so this is going to generate that ul li format, and finally, if everything goes well, I'm going to put all of this inside my top movie container. So I'll say top movie container dot append child, and let's try to append list element. And I'm going to save, and if everything goes well, we should be able to see the movies list here. So let's refresh. Okay, I need to call the function also, right? So we are not calling the function render top movies, and let's call that function here where we are generating the generating our movies. So we need to pass response.data.items. Let's do that. And I'm just going to remove this console.doc. I don't need it for now. I'm going to save. And if I go back, assignment to constant variable, render top movies. So what was wrong with that? Right. So this has to be let, because I'm modifying it here, right? So this has to be let. I'll save. See that? Our movies are coming. You see that our movies, all the movies, list of movies are getting rendered here. And all the 250 movies, right? All the images. And if you see here, right, we got the title, we got the year of release, we got the IMDb rating, right? Maybe I'll do a little bit of modification, just for now. Maybe I'll give it some kind of a label, right? For now, title. Then I'll go with year release. Okay, just temporary things I'm doing here. Maybe we will modify it later on. IMDb rating space. I'm going to save. And if I go back now, you should be able to see the title, the year release, right? And the IMDb rating. And all of these things are coming to dots, so we basically need to style our application. So I'll decide like whether to style it by ourselves, or maybe we can use any third-party library. But you have seen the idea, right? You have seen like what we did here basically. So we had the data of, so we have fetched first in the first part of the video, right? This series, we have fetched all the movies using the Axios. And once we had the data, we are rendering it using our template string syntax. This is really good. This built-in feature of JavaScript has opened all the doors, to combine the HTML with JavaScript together, and generating or rendering HTML or making our application dynamic. So this is the idea. This is what I wanted to cover in this part of the video. I hope you understood like how we can create the HTML and we can use the JavaScript and HTML together to generate the user interface for our applications. So the link of this playlist is in the description. If you haven't watched the first video, you can go back and watch. And all the future videos, they will be part of the playlist. So I'm going to stop here. I hope you understood, you enjoyed this video. We'll continue to build this Movie Mania site in the next part of the video also. So probably I'll cover the styling part, or maybe I'll come up with the styled application. So I'll decide. I mean, if you're interested in HTML, CSS part also, maybe you can comment and I can decide to cover that part also. So with that, I'm going to say thanks for watching this video. I'm going to see you in the next video. Until then, you take care and goodbye.